You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the August 21st, 2023 meeting of the Michigan City Board of Public Works and Safety. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
I'd like to call this meeting of the Michigan City Board of Public Works and Safety to order. This 21st day of August 2023, President or Mayor Dwayne Perry, Mr. Michael Vincent, myself, Virginia Keating, we have a quorum. First item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of the regular hybrid Zoom meeting of August 7, 2023. Are there any corrections?
Motion to approve.
Second.
A call for the vote. Mayor Perry?
Aye.
Mr. Vincent?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Next item on the agenda is a request for uniform change. Chief Doug Legault, Michigan City Fire Department, is requesting permission to allow firefighters to wear breast cancer awareness shirts from October 1st, 2023 through October 31st, 2003 as part of their uniform. Good morning.
Good morning, President, board members, Doug Legault, Michigan City Fire Chief. Is this thing working? Okay. Yep, it's that time of year. We do our yearly breast cancer shirts to where we sell them, design them, sell them, and then we allow the firefighters to wear them on duty for that month. We raise money to donate to a local person which has been chosen, and she's in the process of treating or being treated for breast cancer right now. So we just asked permission that the firefighters be able to wear these on duty for the month.
Thank you very much.
Mhm.
Is there any public comment? Any board comment?
Just for clarification, this is no cost to the city. This is straight donation from firefighters and anyone else purchasing the t-shirt. I make a motion, we approve.
Support.
I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry?
Aye.
Mr. Vincent?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Next item on the agenda is a vendor application. Jesus Tapia, Taco My Friend, is requesting a mobile food vendor license application approval for 1 year to sell authentic Mexican food located at 621 Franklin Street, Sunday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Hello,
State your name and your address, please.
good morning. My name is Jesus Tapia. Jesus Tapia.
Okay. What's your address?
It's 109 Jefferson Avenue in LaPorte.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right, go ahead.
I have my business like 10 years ago. Oh, I'm sorry. My English is not really nice. So if you understand, let me know, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I had a business in 10 years and I want to put my business here because I have a lot of customers from Michigan City just come to LaPorte, especially for my food. And yes, I want to experiment for my taco truck here in Franklin Avenue.
Okay. I would just want to note a couple of things. We've got a health certificate that's dated 1/3/2023 through 12/31/2003. We have an application date of sale with 7/17/2003 to 7/31/2004, which exceeds the date of the health certificate. We have a lot rental agreement that extends from 7/12/2023 through 7/31/2024, and an international driver's license. And there was also attached a certificate of insurance. Amber, do you have any comments about this?
The certificate of insurance, excuse me, it does not include auto liability, so we would need auto liability on that certificate of insurance.
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
So we would need that amended. As to the food establishment permit, I do note it expired at the end of this year. Do you plan on renewing it every year?
Yes. Yeah.
So the board could make it subject to the renewal. The other thing I did note is that it's the location. Our vendors application requires specific locations, and he did give a specific location, but then there was other businesses. So I think we need to define exactly where you're asking besides 621 Franklin Street.
This exactly in outside of the building because the bulb the guy rent to me is making special little piece of concrete for food taco trucks. His installation like electricity and water, so everything is good.
So is that going to be the only location?
Yeah.
Okay, is there a concern about how close it is to other food establishments?
I was looking for Skylar York this morning and he is not in this morning. I know he usually reviews that component of it. So the board may want to table it because planning hasn't been able to see it yet.
Okay. All right, is there any issue regarding the international driver's license?
No, I've spoke with the police and also did a little research on my own.
Good.
That is okay.
Good, fine. Public comment?
Yeah, this is Tommy Kolovics of 1316 Ohio Street. He wants to go on Braylon Hervey's Soul Q barbecue spot where he wanted to go, so I don't think we should have a problem with that. If Braylon was able to go there, I think he should be able to go there too. Now, then he does Arts in the Park every Thursday night in LaPorte, and I've eaten his food and it's really delicious, so I hope you approve this for him.
Thank you. Board comments?
Yes, Madam Chair. As Mr. Kolovic pointed out, we have addressed this before. And this location does fall within the whatever it is, 200 or 300 linear feet of a brick and mortar. So he qualifies there. As far as the auto liability, that's an issue that needs to be addressed. And the other issue that Attorney LePage Stallbrink mentioned, the fact that the period the policy is good for is not the full year. I hate approving this based on that coming up at a later date, because this board handles enough issues that could fall and crack very easily, and it could be operating without an insurance certificate. So I will make that motion that it's tabled for one more meeting.
I'll second.
Now call for the vote. Mayor Perry.
Aye.
Mr. Vincent.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is an amendment to a contract. Tim Haas and Associates LLC is requesting the approval of a professional service agreement amendment number 2 between the City of Michigan City Board of Public Works and Safety and Haas and Associates LLC to perform additional engineering services not to exceed $319,300. And for the record, we've received proof of funding from the Comptroller's Office. There's $219,300 is coming out of account number 1101.431.020 and $100,000 from account 2290.000.431.020. Is anyone here to discuss this matter for us?
Good morning, Board. Brad Minnick, Austin Associates. This is amendment for professional services for the contract that's been in place since last December.
Okay,
If there are any other questions about it, I'd be happy to answer those.
okay. Does the board have any questions?
None here, Madam Chair.
No.
Okay, is there any public comment?
Rodney McCormick, 617 Union Street. Madam President, just I know you guys don't typically answer questions, but I wonder why the city doesn't hire an engineer full time. Will it save us money instead of going through this? Just wondering. Thank you.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I'll respond to that if I may.
Well, you certainly.
Mr. McCormick, the reason we don't is because we haven't been able to find one in it. No, you don't understand. Just listen, please. We haven't been able to find one, plus in a salary range that we can afford. Plus, we have so many projects going on between double track, between community crossings, between everything that, and this has been brought up, and we've been beaten up by the council on this several times, that you have to have enough manpower to do the job. One lone engineer could not handle this. Everything that we have on our plate could not handle this alone. This is why we contracted out. By contracting with Haas or previously Primera, we have a pool of engineers. We have what we need. If we need attention on 2, 3, 4 projects, we have the manpower to support that. If we hire a city engineer and delegate 100% of the responsibility for everything that goes on to that individual, 24 hours a day wouldn't be enough time. He just can't handle it all. So that's why we do what we do. And I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry,
Aye.
Mr. Vincent.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Next item on the agenda is a request for streetlights. Rodney McCormick, 617 Union Street, is requesting streetlights to be placed in the alleyway between Walker and Holiday Streets in the 200, 400, and 500 blocks for public safety. Go ahead, please.
Again, Madam President. I'm here on behalf of the citizens who live on Walker Street. I also have a family member who has purchased a home over there, and they're making a lot of repairs over there. But throughout the city, I've sent emails to all three of you this morning. I don't know if you had a chance to see it. The dumping on these blocks is horrible. Christina Vandenberg, we had street department out. Mr. Hahn came out. Quick as they clean it up, somebody comes right back and dump. And the trash is coming from other sides of town. They're not even from the neighborhood. It's really bad. Yeah, I made several phone calls to the police department so they can document it and know that there is a problem. The dumping is out of control. For some reason, Walker Street is just a dumping ground for people to come from other parts of the neighborhood, other parts of the city to do this. We also have a lot of gang graffiti going on now in the same alleyways. It's pitch black over there. I think there's one street light in that whole run, and that one street light belongs to a private residence. And it's just not serving the purpose. Wherever it is, the police will tell you this. If it's dark, that's where I want to come to commit crimes at. That's where I want to dump at, where it's dark at. This is an ongoing problem. I was hoping that somebody from the inspection department would have been here to talk about this as well. Somebody from street department. But this is an ongoing problem. So we have to address this. And then we also have the problem with the landlords who evict someone from their property. Sanitation department has worked with me on numerous occasions. I have picked up trash behind these people. And then the landlord, they come in and clean the houses out, and they throw all the trash right back in the alleyway, piles of it. And then they deny that they did it. It seems like it doesn't do no good for us to testify and say, hey, I seen them do it. I seen them do it numerous times. This is just a problem that needs to be addressed all the way around, including with city council. But I'm here today at the right time in the right place. So we need those lights in that neighborhood. These people need to protect their investments. They're putting a lot of money in those homes on Walker Street. And this is something that needs to be done. This is a no-brainer, and we should get it done.
Thank you. Brad, have you had, go ahead, Tommy, if you've got a comment.
Yes, Tommy Kolavic. My niece used to own the house at 301 Tryon Street, which is at Tryon and Walker. And Rodney's right. It's really bad there. I know there's been a lot of serious crime. I'm not going to go into detail about it. But yeah, those lights are really, really needed there. And I really think, and it's bad. Yeah, the litter's bad. I was always having to pick up litter. My niece decided to move away. I had to go and fix up the house, and we sold it in 2018 to its current owner. So
Okay.
it really needs to be
pad there. Thank you.
Okay. Brad, have you taken a look at this?
Yes, we could add, as we have in other instances, a mid-block, light and see how that, how well that does addressing the issue. And then, look at it again from there.
Okay, how many lights are we talking, Brad?
So that would be three, one in the 200, one in the 400, one in the 500 block.
Okay, mid alley?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Is there any public comment?
If I may just add a suggestion, recommendation. How about putting the lights, because a lot of people over there have Ring doorbells. A lot of them have security cameras. Maybe if you can just put the lights towards the end of the alleyway to where they can see the vehicle coming in and one in the middle. That will resolve a lot. These alleyways are long. And it's because of all the overgrowth and trees, you have, one light is not going to be suffices. Just drive the alleyway just drive it yourself, especially when it gets dark. You'll see it. And please, I encourage you to look at the emails that I sent you with all the photos. It's horrible. And quick as they clean it up, quick as they come right back. And they taking the people that live there, taking their garbage cans and using them to fill it up with stuff and then come and dump it and leave their garbage cans laying there. And then we blame them for doing it and it's not them. Thank you.
Okay. Response, Brad.
That'd be a total of 9 lights. So I can contact NIPSCO and get that moving forward as well.
Okay,
Just for context, we have approximately 1,800 across the city.
I was wondering that. We don't have a program for streetlights like we do with paving and things of that nature, do we?
No,
I think we ought to
we
have
don't
something
sure.
to figure out where we're going, because we're doing this helter-skelter. You know, we've got to look at the whole city, I think. So I think we need to do something towards that end.
I will champion that, Madam Chair.
Okay.
We will look citywide. We are currently, Mr. McCormick, you heard Mr. Minnick say it's valid. I will authorize him to do that. That's my job. And as far as the dumping, we're very, very close to having a dumping ordinance to put before the council that will have requirements for notification, will have extensive fines, and we have added personnel to process the legal end of it. We will be putting liens on property owners. And the property owner will be responsible. Whoever dumps at their property owner, the property owner is going to be responsible because the tenants leave in the middle of the night.
Mayor, if I may, we are
I'm
going
sorry.
to be passing an ordinance and cleaning up our ordinance, but right now there's state law on it as well. So if anybody does see illegal dumping, please call the police because they can issue infractions for it. There are state laws against it.
Thank you very much, Ms. LePage Stallworth. But that, just a teeny side note, that is one of the 101 tasks that whoever is doing the city engineering has to, that's why we contract with a firm rather than one individual. But we're going to get into it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. LePage Stallworth.
I'd just like to make comment of the dumping. Mr. McCormick stated that we kind of have a good idea of who's doing it. I would like to hear from code or street department or someone, and they normally have a habit of being here, and no one's here this morning, but I would challenge them to come into the Board of Works meetings and give us a report. And if we know who's doing that, like Attorney said, we have state law. If we can put a name behind it, because as you stated, the tenants are going to be responsible. And if somebody's showing up in the middle of the night and dumping in my backyard, I certainly don't want to have to be responsible for that. But if we know who's doing it, let's go after them and let's get something done for a change.
Well, I just want to say thank you, Mr. Mayor. If that's what we're going to get done, I think it should be something in the ordinance where you can confiscate the vehicles. The only way this is going to stop is we catch somebody finally and punish them severely for their actions. And once they know that we're not playing no more with this, they're going to stop. Sad part is we have a lot of neighborhoods, not that many, but we have neighborhoods that have been neglected, and the overgrowth of the trees and the canopy has taken over, and it's hard to light these places up. But we're doing the right thing by bringing it to to you guys' attention. Last question. I keep hearing one of the city council members, she's going around telling everybody that we have thousands of streetlights as solar power. I've never heard of that. Do you know of anything about that? And then all of a sudden she's telling everybody that these are lost and the city never could keep a track of them. So I just wanted to know, is that a true statement or not? Thank you.
Thank you.
To my knowledge, no, that is not. What you're seeing around town, the only solar panels that you're seeing is on short post that is our crime fighting equipment.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Support?
A call for the vote, Mayor Perry.
Aye.
Mr. Vincent.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is a request for removal of signage. Abdu Ibrahim All Brick LLC is requesting the removal of two 15-minute parking signs that are in front of 218 7th Street, Lang's Meat Market, and placing no parking sign in front of the driveway apron at the same location. Have you looked at that?
Yes, you should have a picture in front of you that
Yes.
shows the hints. I circled the no parking tollways signs that were initially installed on either side of the apron. His request is that those signs be replaced simply with no parking signs, so he has access to that apron that serves that lot in the background of the picture.
Okay, well, Brad, I don't know that you were here and I don't know who else was here at the time, but this was a hot button issue. And I think that we need to get some input from the merchants in the area before we make a decision on that. That's my opinion.
I agree with that, Madam Chair. Wholeheartedly. I remember when that was approved.
Yeah.
For a local businessman, Lang's Meat Market, because at that time, the bar was right across the street. What was it? It was the same name as the beer.
McGinnis Pub.
McGinnis. And they had no access for their customers. So that 15-minute parking, I asked for the same thing in front of Fluid Coffee, because we have the same situation with the people that live in Warren Building and that they occupy. So I move this be tabled.
I have concern because I'm a little bit confused at the way this is written up in accompanying with the picture. Driving by, you look at the picture to the left of the picture, the last two parking spaces that aren't on the picture has signs that says 15-minute limit. So there are two parking spaces that says 15-minute limit. The signs that are circled here at the picture that was taken in 2013 are gone. So the apron is an apron. It's an access to a lot. It's in effect a driveway. So there should be no parking signs at that. And for added notification, probably yellow painted on the street so as not to block off access to this alley or driveway. What happened to the no parking signs that's in this picture from 10 years ago?
I don't have an answer for that about the signage. Simply that you're right, Michael, that Google Earth tells kind of the historical perspective of what happened there. But I can dig into it a little bit deeper. I wasn't aware of the extensive history here on this.
I'll make a motion, we table then for next meeting.
All right, I'll support that.
Okay, then I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry,
Aye.
Mr. Vincent.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you, Brad. Next item on the agenda is a request to hang banners. Rose Tahita Main Street Association is requesting the placement of 26 double side banners celebrating Naomi Anderson on the poles on both sides of Michigan Boulevard, starting at 9th Street, heading north, ending at the Charles Westcott Park. Good morning.
Good morning.
Would you identify yourselves, please?
Yes, my name is Rose Tejeda, 310 Detroit Street, and I am here with Nancy Moldenhauer, our co-chair of the Celebrating Naomi Anderson Committee.
Nancy Molnar, 107 K Lane, Michigan City. Thank you.
And also Faye Moore of the Celebrating Naomi Anderson Committee.
Good morning.
We are here today. We are the Celebrating Naomi Anderson Committee, which is a subcommittee of Michigan City Main Street Association. We are here on their behalf, and we are here to ask for permission to install the 26 banners that have been ordered as part of the overall project when we installed the sculpture at Westcott Park. So this is the finishing touch, and what we'd like to do is install 26 banners on either side of Michigan Boulevard, from 9th Street all the way up to East Michigan Boulevard. We're asking to place these banners on the taller light posts. There are two sizes on Michigan Boulevard in that stretch of air, And we're asking to place these on the tall banners, the tall light posts. I have distributed this morning to you a map showing the proposed location as well as the design of the banners, which are double-sided, and also the mounting hardware, which you see is depicted from the company in silver, but we are ordering those in black so that they do not stand out from the black light posts. So we're trying to keep the look very cohesive. And the idea really is to create like a corridor, the banners to kind of celebrate the sculpture as well.
Okay. I don't know if I'm asking something that was in the packet. I perhaps forgot, but what length of time are you going to have these hung?
They're going to be just like the ones in the Uptown Arts District, which means there'll be a permanent installation.
Permanent.
There are many art banners right now through that whole area of Uptown Michigan City.
Okay. And upkeep if one of them gets tattered or something like that?
We have reserves ordered, and also we're in partnership with NIPSCO and their union, and they have partnered with us not only to maintain the sculpture, but they're willing to take this project on as their ongoing commitment to celebrating Naomi Anderson.
Okay, and who's going to install them?
Vern Beck, who is the vice president of the union, and Abraham Dudley, who is the chair of their diversity committee. He's a Michigan City resident, and various members of the union.
Okay, all right. Is there any public comment?
I have something else. Gail had requested a proof of insurance, and as we know, multi-billion-dollar corporations insure themselves, so they don't have a company to go to fill out that paper. But I do have evidence of them being self-insured, and the AM Best has affirmed ratings for NiSource, which is NIPSCO, because NiSource bought NIPSCO several years ago. For NiSource Insurance, they have a financial strength rating of A, which is excellent, and a long-term issuer credit rating of A, which is also excellent. And it also says these ratings reflect NICI's NiSource's balance sheet strength, which AM Best addresses as very strong, the strongest level of risk-adjusted capitalization as measured by Best Capital Adequacy Ratio, BCAR. And I have these documents to leave with you.
Amber?
I haven't seen the documents, and the actual applicant is the Main Street Association. So was Main Street going to do a certificate of insurance as well?
I'm not certain about that, but I know that we have, Main Street.
You have before.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so I'm sure we can take care of that.
Okay. Now public comment.
Hi, Tommy Kolavic, 1316 Ohio Street. I think this would be a great thing to put these banners up. I strongly suggest that they be taken down in November when it start picking up and be put back up in the springtime. You know, we had to quit displaying our senior banners along Franklin Street because they got heavily damaged. They were $60 a piece. The Booster Club paid half of the $30 and the student had to pay the other half. And when their season was over, the student got to keep their banner. But I really suggest you take them down in the winter time because we know how windy it gets in here in the city. Because we don't, these nice banners, I don't want to get damaged and destroyed. Thank you.
Sure, thank you.
Rodney McCormick, 617 Union Street. I don't know how these are going to be fixed to the poles or whatever. I think that's something that you need to make sure is done right. And next is just, it would be nice to have public input on whatever comes up on a pole that we got to drive up and down the boulevard and see. I think the public should have a chance to see this. I wish that we had an example of it here today before us so we can see what it looked like. It's just concerning. It's just concerning, and it would have just been nice to do. And then, like everything else, Ms. LePage brought up a great point. I think it should make sure, table this maybe until the next meeting to make sure that the insurance and stuff is in place and that we don't have no safety issues with the public, like one of these banners falling down. Because it has happened in the past. We just don't want nobody to get hurt or something to happen. Just want to make sure it's done right. Thank you.
Hi, Tommy Kolavic, 1316 Ohio. I just wanted to add that we do still do our senior banners. In the fall for football, we display them at Ames Field. And in the winter and the spring, we display them in the Wolves Den Gym High School. No, I just want to add that.
Thank you. Is there any board comment?
Just one final comment. I wish street department was here so that they could review this, because I want to make sure that these brackets work. And obviously I'm not the street director, so I would agree with tabling this so that street could look at this.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna, okay, if I may, I'm gonna make a motion to table this and I'll give you my reasons. One is, it's fine that NIPSCO's self-insured. They're a trustworthy entity, but I would say we would a hold harmless statement in addition to that. Secondly, I wonder about hanging them from the highest poles. I think if you take a look at where other banners are hung from the shorter streetlights, they're more effective. They're within everybody's range of view without looking up. I think you get more bang for your buck out of the low poles if you install them there. I'm all about banners because I haven't had a chance to champion my banner program. There's two banners that I would like to see put up in Michigan City. One is Cancer Awareness Month. The town of Whiting, all up and down 109th Street, it just takes your breath away and brings tears to your eyes. They have banners of cancer survivors, ladies who have survived, giving them credit and drawing attention to it. I think the city should consider doing that in Cancer Awareness Month and also around the Veterans Day to show our appreciation of our veterans. One of the events, Mayor's Forums, that I was coming back from in the southern half of the state, I was very unhappy because I got lost, but one good thing that came out of it is I ended up in a very small town that had banners off their light post of all of the veterans that lived there that had served all the way back to World War I, even though they're not with us. It was a very touching thing to see. And I think for community image, for community solidarity, I think these are things that need to be considered. But as far as this, I'm all for it. Just get the biggest bang for your buck. Get them to where everybody is going to see them. And as Commissioner Vincent said, we want to have details on the installation so that nothing blows off, hits a windshield, causes an accident. And the city's in court again. Don't need it.
Mayor, I like your idea of more banners being displayed in the city
I
for
thought you would.
especially visual impact. And we did walk Michigan Boulevard, and the reason we chose the taller light poles instead of the shorter ones, we realized if we put them on the shorter ones, people would be able to jump up and actually bat at them and
How long are the banners?
probably damage them.
They're 62 inches high.
Ooh, it is awful low.
Yeah, so we did walk it and made a decision for the taller ones just because people would be able to touch them if we hung them on the shorter light poles.
Okay.
Okay.
Before we go
And
on.
thank you for the suggestion.
Amber, have you anything else to say?
No, I wish street department was here so they could sit down and work with Main Street. I think they need to do a one-on-one and walk through it is really what I think needs to happen so that they're prepared before it comes back to this board.
Okay. We have a motion to table. I think we ought to indicate in our motion also that the street department needs to meet with the parties prior to our next meeting.
Yes, Madam Chair, I'll include that in my motion and table for only one meeting.
I would also like to see a time issue on this and not indefinite. I mean, season to season, subject to winter, like Mr. Klavic was saying, take them down at a certain date, put them back up at a certain date, come back to the board for further approval. And I know you did a lot of research and a lot of time went into this. And I know you want them up by Labor Day, but you could have brought this to the board sooner about the time that you started thinking about doing this, and this would all been hashed out already, and they could have been up by now. So I second the table motion.
Okay, then I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry,
Aye.
Mr. Vincent.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you all. Appreciate it. Next item on the agenda is approval to use city property. Kavlin Hawkins, 325 Village Road, is requesting to use the You Are Beautiful lot on Saturday, September 23rd, 2023, starting at 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. for their last car audio battle of the year. Please state your name and your address.
325 Village Road, Michigan City, Indiana.
Thank you.
The last time y'all members used it on July 29th, they were supposed to block the street off on Second Street. They didn't, but we didn't have any problems. We didn't have any complaints, and it also allowed me to put the money back into the community. I bought lanyards and bracelets for the kids, and I also bought 100 backpacks and 100 school supplies and gave them out to the kids in the community at the night out with Marty and the mayor. So I'm asking to do it again because it's also putting money into the foundation, and I'm still helping the community while doing it.
Okay. That's excellent. I just want to note that we have an August 15th letter from redevelopment approving this use of this property. Are there any public comments?
Yeah, this is Tommy Collab.
I can't hear you.
16 Star. I think this is a great thing that Mr. Hopkins is doing for his daughter Nikisha. But we all know that in the future that property is going to be unavailable for this kind of use. I'd like to recommend in the future. I know that the back in 2019, the city acquired the 3 acres north of the school administration building on Carroll Avenue. This is when Johnny Stimley was on the council. He wanted to put a dog park there. That's now under the jurisdiction of the Michigan City Park and Recreations Department. So I'd like to just suggest or recommend that in the future that be used instead of the You Are Beautiful. You know, that big edifice is going to be blown up there very soon. I just want to mention that. Thank you.
Thank you. That's noted. Amber, what about the certificate of insurance? Is that
It
approved?
just says it's pending that he's going to get it for us again. So,
I emailed it and then
Okay.
emailed it everything.
do you have it, Gail?
My notes show that it's waiting for maps.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, so I got the insurance also.
Matt's indicating thumbs up that he's looked at, right? Okay.
Okay, we have another public comment.
Thank you, Madam President. Rodney McCormick, 617 Union Street. Mr. Hawkins put on good events. People in the city can participate, but the greatest thing I like, he's bringing a lot of young people in there as well. And he's giving back to the community. A lot of people don't do that. And I just want to say thank you for doing these. These are kind of programs that we need to do. And we need to get the people in the city more active with what everybody's culture is and have a good time. And it's just just a great thing. Thank you.
Is there any board comment?
I'll make a motion to approve pending insurance clarification.
She said,
We're okay. Matt gave us the approval. He's in the back.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I make a motion, we approve, period.
I appreciate y'all. And y'all all invited to come check out the baby bumper bowl. On Tuesday, every Tuesday at 5 o'clock in the afternoon at City Links.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I have one concern about this, that there's limited things I can say about the developments in Michigan City, but that You Are Beautiful site is, all the documents are in order to start development on that.
I understand that.
And so I would hate at the last minute to say that you can't do it. The suggestion of the alternative site, I wish you would consider that. And one other thing, the days are getting shorter now, and I think it would be in your best interest as it was the city's if this ended before it got dark. So if you went from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., you still got full 8 hours, but the days are getting shorter, and I think it would be a little better fit. So I wish redevelopment was here to comment as much as they can comment on the status of that project.
They signed the letter though, didn't they?
Yes.
So they should be fine. They signed a letter already.
Okay, all right, then I support it. I second that.
Okay, then I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry?
Aye.
Mr. Vincent?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you for coming and good luck.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is a street closure. Michael Cox, representing Flaherty and Collins Construction Company, is requesting a street closure on 10th Street and Pine Street to begin construction of the 6-story precast parking garage, 2, 12, and 6-story apartment tower, and 2-story retail commercial space by the train station, starting on Monday, August 28th, 2023, the duration being between 2 and 2.5 years. Gentlemen, we're ready.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you, Madam President, and
Please identify yourself and give us your address.
agreed. Name is Steve Epping. Work with Flaherty and Collins. An address downtown where we work. Our main offices are 1 Indiana Square, Suite 3000, Indianapolis.
Thank you.
With us is an architect that we've hired, John Dabrowski. He works for American Structure Point. His address is 9025 River Road, Suite 200, Indianapolis 46240. On this side,
I'm Michael Cox, 1760 Sandoval Court, Indianapolis, Indiana.
Thank you.
We're here today to talk about some street closures and some other detours that we'll have to have in place for us to be able to build our project here. The development that includes the train station and the parking garage, as well as the multifamily housing. So with us today, we brought some boards. I'm not sure that you're gonna be able to see them. We also brought handouts, 2 different kinds. We'd like to pass those out if that's okay. One of the things that we're going to want to talk to you about is 2 areas that we're going to store materials at. We'll be fabricating concrete panels off-site. They're quite large. The largest one being maybe 20 feet wide, 60 feet long. So we're going to identify the two areas and we plan to stage materials at, and then the routes that go to them from the job site. And I didn't mention the address of the job site, so if you don't have it, it's 114 East 11th Street, 46360. Two projects, two separate buildings that will be building simultaneously. The garage and train station will be done in 12 months. The other part of the building, the multifamily, will be done in 24. Let me just go ahead and turn it over to our architect that engineered these drawings for us, and also the superintendent on the job, Michael Cox. So let me turn it over to them right now, and they can explain in a little bit more detail than I just said.
Thanks, Steve. Again, my name is John Grosky. I'm the project engineer for American Structure Point on this project. What we got going on here is two staging areas, one located at Wabash and Barker Street. That'll be where our 20-foot wide panels are stored. We ran turning exhibits for construction traffic going to our site, showing that we need one lane closure on Wabash. The other site location is going to be our Chrysler lot located at Michigan and 11th. And at this location, we're going to be storing various construction materials needing the use of a box truck. From there, we're going to go through the alley, which is currently a public road along 11th Street to our site. Located around our site, we need to close 11th Street. We'll keep the north sidewalk open, but we'll need to have closures all around the adjacent property. We will be needing to keep Franklin Street closed along the frontage by maintaining 3 lanes of traffic, 1 traffic lane going north and 2 going south. Currently, the NICTE project is causing us to have Pine Street closed. During the duration of this project, we're going to keep that closed.
Okay, to go along with this, we have everybody's not seen precast. We're going to be swinging some 20 feet wide, 60 feet long precast panels to build this garage. There are 400 and some different pieces of precast that are part of this project. So that's why the concern is so great. 10th Street is probably 10th Street will be our main delivery route coming in from St. Franciscan parking lot. I think once we get that secured, I think we have it secured already. So they'll be coming straight up Wabash and turning right on 10th Street. And it's 2 blocks over to the job site. And there they'll be picked, the precast panels will be picked by the crawler being a 675,000 pound crane. It's going to take a lot to reach out and pick all this up and swing it. Therefore, the request and a proposal to close 10th Street because, 60 feet tall, you just can't outrun it. If anything goes wrong, we want to make sure we got everything covered. And we have to, construction industry, we work off worst case scenario. So we will at the first project, we would keep that suggestion of Brad Minnick, and it's a very good suggestion, keep the northwest side of 10th and Pine over to the southeast side of 10th and Pine open so that any traffic coming down Pine Street could turn left onto 10th Street going east or coming off of 10th Street going north on Pine Street. That would leave 1 lane each direction. And we could still have a gate there, but it would be a diagonal block, which would keep everybody out of the way of, said crane. until it's gonna take a few weeks to get everything ready to start even installing the precast. We gotta do footers, we gotta do numerous piers, all kind of things we have to put together yet. And then once we start swinging the precast, it's gonna be very important that we maintain a clear site and everybody out of the way. They will have eyes on all the time and just try to make everything safe. And with the city's cooperation and some good suggestions we've received from members of the city, I think it'll be safe and can be done. Thank you.
Okay, I have a question, just a minor question, but what are the hours you intend to be moving these precasts from the hospital to the job site? What hours are you intending to do that?
We anticipate right now using the same hours that are dictated in your the city plan. It's like between 7 and 8.
7 and 8. Okay, all right. Brad, did you want to have anything to say about this?
7 a.m. and 8 a.m.
7 a.m. to 8 p.m.
8 p.m.
It seems to me that this would require more than just coming before us. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think you need a meeting to coordinate all this. That's my personal opinion. There's a little complexity to this, and I know you've got a date of the 28th, but certainly there should be enough time to be able to go over this as a group. But Brad, go ahead.
Sure. We had a coordination meeting probably 3 weeks ago or so with the planning department, and we also intend to have a coordination meeting with the police department to go over the traffic flow.
Okay.
One thing of note is as the beams travel northbound on Wabash, they're going to be in the southbound lane. So that's detailed a little bit in the bottom there. Because of the swing radius, we can't have them in the traditional northbound lane. They can't make the corner coming onto 10th Street. So there'll be what's often termed as a rolling closure with the police department escorting the beams from the staging yard at the hospital up to the site. And again, this initial request for the board is to set the closure around the perimeter of the station block and the beam delivery and so forth that we're discussing in detail is going to be a later date, guys. The late September. I don't recall. The 1st of October. So that's where we're at in terms of, we wanted to get it on the agenda for an awareness and then work out the particulars with the police department as the biggest piece was the staging agreement at the hospital. Without that formally in place, we couldn't plan to bring the beams from there to the site. That was the final piece to take the next step to meet with the police department.
Okay.
And emergency services for that matter.
Corporal, do you have anything you want to say about this?
Good morning, Corporal Wright, Commander of Michigan City Police Department Traffic Division. At the moment, I don't. It sounds like they got a lot more knowledge on this than I do as far as what they need to do to move everything around the city to make it work to build this building. And in the end of the day, I think we're going to get this building regardless what we say. So at the moment, no. I just, like they said, if we're doing rolling road closures and stuff like that to assist, we'll just need to know basically when and where and what the plan is. So I agree, we probably need to have a sit down and discuss that as the time goes on. So,
okay. All right.
I'd like to ask, while Corporal's here, what is the weight of each truck that will be traveling the street? Can you just tell me? So it's public knowledge.
Okay. See, there's no weight on here. I know, I can tell you, we can figure it. The crane is 675,000 pounds unloaded. And it's 935,000 pounds loaded. Yeah.
Yeah, but the crane's gonna be coming in pieces, right?
Crane's gonna be inside the footprint of the building. It won't be moving except back and forth.
No, it's gonna be coming to Michigan City in pieces. We're trying to figure.
Yes, that only makes sense, Mayor.
Having a
My concern is, while Corporal is here, what is our weight capacity of our streets that you're traveling on? And if you're overloaded, I guess that's fine as long as you promise to fix those streets when you're gone. And while we're asking those questions, how are we getting to the hospital? I mean, that's the staging area, but where's it coming into town to get to the hospital, to get to the Chrysler? And what streets are those capacities compared to whether it be your truck with the concrete structure on it or the crane pieces?
The routing will be I-94 over to Franklin Road up to West Barker. Go left on West Barker over 2 blocks and then you're right.
And turning radiuses for those have been figured? Any street closings, because we're just, right now, all I've heard is getting from one to the other. You're getting that from point B to point C, but where's point A to point B?
Right, the maximum turning radius is 73.5 feet, and that's the truck's length. So the maximum radius is 43.5 feet. And they can take the back wheels of the truck as it's shown on the.
Yes, and what is the weight of the truck?
Yeah, the weight of the truck.
Can you get that for us?
Sure can.
Thank you.
But the back wheels on the trailer can be moved forward to give it a shorter.
Yeah. And right, do we know what the weight limit is on our city streets, and in particular what the ones we're going to be using?
I will have to look into that just to be sure. I'm not aware off the top of my head to give a correct answer. I would have to look at that.
Oh,
Brad,
okay, Brad, I see you standing up.
Getting crowded up here, so, yeah, so the best bet is to understand that we've got the certificate of insurance. And also, that I can go out and log the roads prior to the crane mobilization and the beam delivery as well. A video log that establishes the baseline as to what the road looks like before construction, right? So then, they're looking at approximately 90 days for correction for the precast beams. So similarly on the back end, when that sequence is done, the roads could be logged again to identify damage that may have been caused during that.
We log any interior sewer pipes, water lines, gas pipes that are under those streets as well?
I can work with the various departments for that. I know they do periodic camera inventory. So we have a baseline on those as well. So, but that's a good point. You can add that to the snapshot before construction begins.
Okay, thank you.
insurance.
Matt's reviewed and he has a few concerns with the insurance. We'll need it updated.
Okay.
What's going on back?
And Brad, periodic updates to this board as well.
Matt's gonna laundry list the issues with the insurance, so everybody
Of course.
knows.
Yeah, Matt Weber. What's going on here?
I know that's a lot to throw at you all of a sudden.
Matt Weber is going to speak about the insurance component.
Matt Weber, General Insurance Services. Just after initial review of the certificate of insurance here, everything looks to be mostly in order. My one point to confirm was on the automobile liability. Is marked as hired and non-owned auto. So my question would be if vehicles owned by Flaherty Construction will be on site and used, or if they will all be subbed out or rented or hired.
No, Flaherty called.
Okay. In that case, the certificate of insurance looks acceptable. Just with the length of the project, I'm sure that, they're familiar with getting out renewal cert holder lists when those expiration dates come due. Other than that, everything looks good from an insurance perspective.
Thank you, Matt.
Okay, is there anything else, gentlemen?
I just want to mention that, we've talked to Skylar about this like 3 times, and we've been doing some reading.
If I could interrupt you just for a second, if anybody in the audience is having private conversation, could you please take it to the foyer? Because I'm trying to concentrate on matters at hand. So if you have private conversations, can you please take it outside? Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry.
No, so we've had several conversations and we're gathering up the information. We have been doing the calculations. We have turn radiuses on all of the intersections. We have, with that packet, you'll find pedestrian traffic and detour information that carry out from the site itself. So those are indicated on these drawings, so you can look at those at your leisure. And I'll get back with Skylar, and we will get with the first responders, and we'll start making sure that everything's good that way. If there's specific questions that the board has or comes up with, please do not hesitate to call us. We're going to be here quite a bit for a few years, so we're all going to be in it together. We're excited about working with the city. I have to say that the city has been very welcoming and been very easy to work with, and we really, really appreciate your cooperation today. Can't wait to get started.
I have one question. How long will the Franciscan lot be used as a staging site? Because I'm already hearing from residents that live in that area with concerns about the area.
Well, it's going to be probably 5 months, probably. I'm being conservative. We have 3 months of fabrication, roughly three months of installation. So we'll start installing as soon as the materials start coming in, but it won't be the majority of the project. And the other project won't have precast on it, so it's not, the problem will be alleviated.
Thank you.
Is there any public comment?
Here we go.
Rodney McCormick, 617 Union Street. We're concerned about insurance, and that's a good reason. It's a good reason for that, but have anybody thought about what this is going to do to our kids? How about busing? Where the bus is going to go? There some of these routes, buses stop there. How about the displacement of residents and where they have to park their vehicles at? Madam President, you're right. They need to get everybody together. This is going to impact. It's already an inconvenience for the majority of us in the city. You see the double tracks, the double cross, the parking garage, I believe is going to turn into a homeless shelter. But that's just my opinion. Mr. Vincent, you brought up great points as well. I think now is the time for us to communicate. Mr. Prespolinski is here, the council members, the wards that are being affected. Everybody should have input in this and understand what's going on, because we can please everyone, because no matter what, like Mr. Wright said, this is going to happen with us or without us. But to inconvenience our kids is wrong. We have to look at this. This is a big picture. Buses are going to have to pick up somewhere else for safety reasons. We have to look at all of this in a whole, instead of just worrying about a brand new big building coming to Michigan City. Because it ain't gonna benefit everybody in Michigan City, the building coming here. It's not gonna benefit us all. It's good to see progress, but at what cost? Please, maybe table this until you can have everybody talk to one another for once, and let's make sure that everyone's happy here. I appreciate you. Thank you for the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tommy Clavick, 1316 Ohio Street is by ordinance, so we are permitted to do our construction work and our ground maintenance between the hours of 7 a.m. and 8 p.m. I had an issue with this with the police about 5 years ago, and I got that all straightened out. So they can do their work between 7 a.m. and 8 p.m. I also want to say they need to keep their semis off of William Street. It's a through street between Wabash and Ohio. When they were tearing down St. Anthony, they were constantly running their semi trucks, and they need to stay off of that. The other thing I also wanted to remind the board that American Structure Point was the architecture firm that gave us all the manhole covers in the driving lane on Ohio Street. So I don't think they'll mess this up like they did that. Thank you.
Councilman.
Yeah. Good morning, board members. I'm glad I came to this meeting because I never heard anything about this whatsoever. And especially the ward councilman, I know that Councilman Paul Przybylski probably hasn't heard anything about it. Otherwise, I'm for sure he'd be here this morning. He only lives 2 blocks away from where all this staging area is going to take place. I know exactly where this is at. I know exactly the route where these castings are going to go up and down Wabash Street. And there needs to be, well, let me get my thought process together here over this overwhelming ordeal that I think the city's getting involved with here. Then I don't think we have all the facts to, is we're going to have these large precast pieces. How big are they again?
The biggest is 24 wide by 60 feet.
24 feet wide by 60 feet long. 24 feet wide by 60 feet long. Wabash Street is 2 lanes wide with parking on each side. So in order, and I think a normal traffic lane is maybe 10 feet wide, give or take a foot. So in order to haul these precast concrete pieces up and down Wabash Street, you're going to have to clear the whole street. You have residents that park on these streets all the way from Barker down to 10th Street. There's parking on both sides of the street. Now, and that's up to the Board of Works and the city administration to, and the police department to tell these people they're going to have to go find somewhere else to park. These pieces are coming up and down Wabash Street. It's going to be a mess. It's going to be an absolute mess. The other thing, bringing these pieces into Michigan City and bringing them down Barker Ave. I mean, I know how wide that is, and that's the same situation. You're going to have to clear Barker Ave on both sides of the street to get these to even make that turn at Barker and Franklin, and then get it into the St. Anthony's parking area. Have you guys actually went and measured all the streets and the area where this is all going to be staged? Can your semis actually make these turns on these streets? Have you actually brought a truck into town the size of what you're asking the city to permit and drive the truck up and down the streets and make these curves and take that truck down Wabash Street with a piece of 20-foot wide concrete hanging on the sides to see how much room you're going to need? Have you done that?
Yeah, no, we don't have any pieces, but
Do you plan on doing that? Or do you just plan on saying, hey, Michigan City, clear the streets. Here we come with our concrete. And if you know what, people that live on Wabash Street, if you don't like it, too bad. Go park your car over by St. Stan's. But oh, we live down by 11th Street. That's a 5-block walk. That's a 5-block walk. I mean, this has to be talked about. This has to be thought about. I mean, all the different entities, like Mr. McCormick said, thanks, Ryan. Mr. McCormick said, there's school bus stops along Wabash Street and along Washington Street, the whole area where this is gonna be affected. It's all gotta be talked about. And this isn't, it's not gonna get done right here today. I know that for a fact. Too much stuff has to get ironed out. But I would table this and make these gentlemen, make the company bring their semi to town, and make them drive it up and down the streets with, you don't have to have concrete on the back. All you gotta do is make a piece, you know, get a wooden sample and put it on the back of a truck and drive around the streets to see how it's gonna work out. It's always best to go take a look before you start a project and get things going. So I would definitely table this, get a workshop for all the council members that wards are gonna be affected by this, because I believe it's the 3rd ward, the 2nd ward. Yeah, I think that's it. And the councilman at large. Yeah, and part of the 1st ward, I believe. Get all those people together. The police department, of course, they have to be there for traffic control. The school system needs to be there for bus stops. And what effect it's gonna have on bus routes. Because now if you're closing off Wabash Street, they're gonna have to be bus routes.
It's time.
The buses route.
Time. Thank you.
I'm done.
If I may, Mike.
Thank you, but I would definitely.
No, at this time, I'm prepared to make a motion to table this.
Wait, no, Mayor has something he wants to say.
Thank you. I'm sorry for preempting you, Michael, but I.
No, if you have
A lot of
comments,
things
go
I'm
ahead,
gonna
please.
say, a lot of things I'm gonna say about this. Councilman Don. I was given limited information about this. I am really uptight about this. Sir, you didn't give your employer. The other 2 gentlemen did. Who do you work for? Okay, I'm sorry. The way you talked, I figured you were heavy rigger because you know the talk. This is just mind-boggling. You think there's gonna be some heartburn, there's gonna be over 20,000 cases of heartburn in this town over this. This is really a big deal, and it irritates me that when your response, sir, at the microphone right now, when you were asked if you physically mapped those streets out, that you said you hadn't. I've worked for Fortune 500 companies, the biggest Bechtel, and the oil refineries. I guarantee over in Whiting, when we made a big list, every inch of every way along the route was mapped out. I have some questions. Why? Where are these panels coming from to Michigan City? Where are they coming from? Indianapolis. Well, why aren't you bringing them up 65 to 94 to 49 to Highway 12 to Pine Street and directly to the site? Is it because NDOT's very difficult to deal with? You've got a staging area. You got the former Ileana block. You've got a large staging area right there on Highway 12 where these panels could be staged. Staged, more than adequate room. Are the panels, have they started fabricating these panels yet?
Yeah.
They have. Okay, Brad, did I hear you correctly that the erection cycle is 3 months? It's just gonna take 3 months to erect the panels? That small portion of the job, erecting them and securing them in place.
At a recent meeting with Clarity and Collins, we had discussed 78-day erection schedule. Now that was best case scenario. That's why I said 90 days.
Okay, well, 3 months.
Window, right?
Yeah. Well, thank God they've started to fabricate them rather than back-to-back operations.
Sure.
I would like you to investigate the route I suggested. Because it doesn't, that route brings minimal heartburn to Michigan City, minimal chaos. I know NDOT's very difficult to deal with. I've had that experience, unfortunately, several times. But I'm here to protect Michigan City and I'm not liking what I'm hearing at all. So, Michael, I welcome your motion to table.
Say something, okay. I want to make it clear, okay, as I said earlier, this is a very complex matter. It cannot be a decision that is made in a vacuum. We need more input. I will yield to Mr. Vincent for a motion.
Make a motion to table this beyond a workshop where all parties affected and public opinion is to be heard.
I'll second that motion.
Then I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry?
Aye.
Mr. Vincent?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you, gentlemen. Next item on the agenda is a FirstNet participation agreement. Andrew Metanek, IT Director, is requesting a participation agreement managed by AT&T, which the state of Indiana competitively contracts for Indiana state agencies and political subdivisions, special purchasing method number under IC 5-22-10-15. Good morning, Andy.
Good morning. Yes, this is strictly just a participation agreement. It's not committing to buy anything or even obtain any AT&T services. This is just in the future, if we choose to do this, we will be able to move forward. Recently, Verizon, our current provider, has had a lot of problems in Michigan City, especially during the boat races where they had a lot of towers that were out. And it caused some definitely impact public safety because of that. And so this will give us the ability to be able to pick, another carrier if something comes up in the future we need to, and also to look at the possibility of adding these on, but nothing would be going forth with AT&T. We wouldn't purchase any services or anything else unless we went back up to the Board of Works to you to seek your approval. This is just the first step in order for us to participate in this program, but in order to actually incur any type of cost or anything to the city or any type of hardware being purchased would come back up in front of you again for approval.
Thank you. Is there any board comment?
I'll wait for Commissioner Vincent in case he has yet. Motion to approve.
Second.
I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry?
Aye.
Mr. Vincent?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is a street closure. Kevin Cagbine, Walsh, and Herzog is requesting the following railroad crossing street closures for the Nickty double track project: Huron to Willard, Willard to Hancock, and Hancock to Sheridan Avenue, School Street to Carroll Avenue, Grace Street and Vale Street, starting Tuesday, August 22nd, 2023 for 1 month. Go ahead, Mr. Cagbine.
Can you guys hear me, board? This is Kevin Cagbine with Walsh Construction.
Yes.
Okay. I'm at 1260 East Summit Street, Crown Point, Indiana is where our company office is at. Basically, guys, we're trying to wrap up the last of the Michigan City items. We are looking to do a school in Carroll Street to finish some curbs and upgrade to a quiet zone. That'd be a 14-day closure starting on Tuesday, 8/22 for 14 days. Finish up center curb signage on some paving patches. And then after we finish up with that, we have a small mill and overlay that we have to do towards Grace Street and do some signal upgrades over there on 830. And then as soon as those are complete, then we're going to do Vale Street, which will be about a 3-week closure right off Michigan Boulevard to do some signal work and some center median work. And that should all wrap up around the end of September. Those are the 4 quiet zones that we have left to do. And then we are also requesting a closure on 10th Street to remove the existing track that's through 10th Street and place the patch back through 10th Street and remove all the track stuff through there and finish up 10th Street.
Thank you. Would you explain what detours you'll have to put in place?
So we've got for Carroll and school detours, those will detour down Michigan Boulevard. And then Vale Street will actually detour through School Street. So we'll have School Street finished up before we close Vale Street. And then Grace Street will actually, it'll actually go through Michigan Boulevard as well. So, and I've sent each one of those detour plans out.
Thank you. Corporal Wright, have you taken a look at the detour plans?
I have not taken a look at them because I have not received it. But listening to it, I mean, it sounds like they have it in order and have done the work, but I haven't seen it.
Thank you. Any public comment?
Rodney McCormick, 617 Union Street. Lack of communication again. All these plans. Nobody else knows about what's going on. Police don't know what's going on. The mayor don't know what's going on. I don't know who keeps dropping the ball and don't want to inform the people that need to know. This is pretty simple.
Once a month, we send out a note that all these closures are forthcoming, and every entity gets emailed on there, including the city of Michigan City, police and fire. Everyone has been aware. We've been sending these notices out.
We like to practice decorum in Michigan City. I'm sorry, I didn't yield the floor, but thank you for cutting in and taking.
I'm sorry,
taking my time away from me. Briefly, this is what I'm talking about: the lack of communication and respect for the citizens. On behalf of the citizens of the First Ward, my mother, myself, people that live on Gray Street, I think probably for the majority of the city, this double track project has been a big inconvenience and it sucks. And I'm just tired of it. I'll be glad when we wrap it up and be done with it. I believe that had we known these problems that was going to exist, I don't even think we would have ever voted for this. The people of this city has had enough. Just want communication to come back to Michigan City, please. Thank you.
Are there any other public comments? Board comments?
I have one, Madam Chair. I'm sure I've talked time and time again on how big this project is in terms of the items that are not acceptable, that are going to have to be revisited and fixed, like the cul-de-sacs on the north side of 11th Street. This particular item, I'll go back to the size of this project. You've got a master schedule, and I'm sure you have on the lowest level of planning, you have bi-weekly meetings to monitor your progress and look at and have your look ahead at what you're doing. My question is, why are we sitting here on August 21st, your request to start a closure for 1 month tomorrow, August 22nd? I mean, you can say you sent out a notice once a month, but there are entities in Michigan City that don't have the opportunity to react immediately to these notices. I'm going to make a motion to table this till the next meeting.
I'll second.
Okay, I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry.
Aye.
Mr. Vincent.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you.
Kind of stuff's got to stop.
Thank you. Next item.
Sure.
Next item on the agenda is a drainage issue. Dennis Nespo, 1112 Tennessee Street, is concerned about the catch basins that were removed in front of his residence when construction was done for the double track and water standing there for days after it rains.
Good morning, everybody. Again, City Councilman Don Przybylski, 215 Gardena Street, and Mr. Nespel is sitting right here, personal friend of mine. He lives at 1112 Tennessee Street. And I did know that Mr. Nespel had this concern put on his paperwork for the Board of Works meetings for today. So I had that in the back of my mind. And then last Thursday, when it rained real hard in the morning for 2 to 3 hours, I think it was, I just said, well, I'm going to take a ride down there and see what the issue is. So I took a ride down there to the corner of 11th and Tennessee. That's where this is at. Mr. Nespel lives at 1112 Tennessee, which is just like 3 houses up from the intersection. So I guess what has transpired since the double track work was done down there is that they moved one storm sewer off the corner down on 11th and Tennessee, and they moved it around down the street. I think Dennis told me it was 9 sections of sidewalk, which would be what, 4 feet, about 32 feet, 35 feet, or whatever it would be. They moved it down the block. So now what's happening when it rains, there's a large puddle of water, probably about 15 feet in diameter, that's sitting right in the intersection down there. So when I went to look at the storm sewer, instead of being slanted back towards 11th Street or Tennessee Street, so that the water would come down Tennessee, go around the curb, and then flow down to the storm sewer, it's actually pointed up at the intersection. So when the water runs down to the storm sewer, it stops right there because the water can't get into the storm sewer, because here's the lip of the storm sewer going up instead of going down where the water could run into it. So with that being said, and I know Mr. Medical get involved with it, I took pictures of it, Brad, and everything. You can look at it. I'm gonna take a walk down there. I'll meet you down there. We can check that out and show you firsthand what I.
Brad, we might as well hear from you now.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, Don.
No, that's fine.
So, Wednesday of last week, I think I went through 11th Street and walked the length of the corridor in response to Mr. Nespo's inquiry about the ponding, and I sent Nick D a 14-page punch list, I guess, if you will, just for the 11th Street portion of the work, and they've added that to the contractor's to-do list while they're still in town, and also part of that is preventative. When they start a construction project, they'll put basically a fabric liner in the catch basins to retain sediment runoff and prevent it from entering the storm or sanitary sewer. So some of the ponding water you see today is backed up because of that fabric. But I also made that known in my punch list that when that fabric is removed, that's not going to resolve all the problems. So we have a meeting scheduled with Nick D for the Thursday after Labor Day. And this is an agenda item for that meeting as well.
Okay.
So my request would be to table it to the second meeting in September, because we will have had our meeting with Nick D prior to that, but not prior to the first meeting.
Well, that's all very nice to hear, and thank you for going out and doing that. But I have a couple questions. Had Mr. Nespo not brought this to our attention, would this have been caught? Are they going out and inspecting these things? Are we just going to have these things out there and then all of a sudden we're going to have a crisis 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now? Is that what's going to happen?
No, this is part of the, in conjunction with the ADA work that I brought their attention that was not compliant. And then also, I think, Mayor, we had maybe almost 3 months ago, we had a meeting with Nick D about various issues. Moore's Automotive Shop was at the heart of it over on Green Street, but they have a growing list of punch list items.
But punch list items are on that list because you went out personally and put them on there. Is that correct?
Correct.
They're not doing any inspection on their own. Okay, all right.
No, that's not correct.
Very disturbing.
That's not correct. So when the ADA list in particular, there were approximately 100 ADA ramps along the corridor in Michigan City, and they WSP is doing the construction inspection. they sent me the list and I went through it and counted up approximately 30 ADA ramps that were not compliant, and they've been working on those to remove and replace those over the last couple of months as well. So it has been a cooperative effort with myself and WSP, who's doing the formal construction inspection on the project.
Okay, so sui sponte, that means on their own, they went out and they looked at the ADA ramps. Is that what you're telling me? Okay, did they look at things like this?
The ponding issue, I brought to their attention.
That's exactly what I thought. Is there any board comment?
Just that they need to step it up, Madam Chair. Just I'm tired of saying this is a big project. These things are going to be picked up. We need some quality assurance from NICD, some on-site construction observation to notice these things and get them fixed.
My comment before motion is thank you, Brad, for keeping up with this and doing the walkthroughs and making the lists. And then comment from Mayor. Is this coming off of Michigan City budget or is NICD going to reimburse for Brad's time of doing their quality control for them?
Every item that we have to do that NICD should have done will be addressed for cost adjustments in this project.
Okay, I'll make a motion to table this to the second meeting in September.
Support.
I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry?
Aye.
Mr. Vincent?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Brad, thank you very much for looking out for us. Appreciate that. Next item on the agenda is the insurance policy coverage. Matt Weber, General Insurance, is requesting approval for the special event 2023 Michigan City Oktoberfest liability insurance policy that will be held from September 1st, 2023 to September 4th, 2023 in the amount of $22,132. I'm getting kind of tired of talking.
Good morning again.
Thank you.
Matt Weber, General Insurance Services. As Madam Chair just stated, this is a continuation of last year when the event came back. The best risk transfer for the city. We decided to put a special events policy into place that covers the dates of the event and also August 31st and September 5th, the setup and tear down respectively of the events. So just here seeking formal approval.
Okay, and just for the record, there's been proof of funding from the city special events fund received from the controller's office. Is there any board comment?
Yes, Madam Chair, I'd like to make a comment. This is a statement of the effort of General Insurance. We really appreciate it. We're evolving in Michigan City to bigger regional or high-profile events. So our approach in the past has become inadequate. So this special events policy concept is something that we're going to be able to modify and use in the future to an example, Oktoberfest, requiring a garage vendor that makes belt buckles, tie-dye t-shirts, whatever, to have multiple $1 million in insurance is unrealistic. They won't come to the event. You don't have those type of quality features. So I salute General Insurance for what they're doing. I think this is, and I hope the public understands, this is the right thing to do. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Support.
I'll call for vote. Mayor Perry?
Aye.
Mr. Vincent?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is a request to solicit bids. Brad Minnick, Haas and Associates LLC is requesting to solicit bids and the approval of specs for a citywide pavement striping project. For the record, proof of funding from the Controller's Office and $200,000 in the city 2023 budget, account number 20.000.435-030 and $75,000 out of the 2022 encumbered. You want to explain?
Sure. So, this is a pavement marking contract to be bid out. It's accepted at the Tuesday meeting, the day after Labor Day, September 5th. It would incorporate Ohio Street, Woodland Avenue, Franklin Street, Carroll Avenue, Washington Street, and Greenwood Avenue. Those 6 streets, to the extent that the budget allows. And there's also an alternate item for the restriping of 4 public lots for the redevelopment in connection with the Nicky Double Track project. That redevelopment would fund those.
Thank you. Thank you. I noticed that this has already been advertised in the Herald Dispatch on Friday. Were you aware of that? It was on Friday.
Yes, he had it.
To meet the requirements of statute, it had to be published 2 consecutive weeks, at least 7 days apart, to
Yeah,
meet the bid opening.
but before we approved going out for bids.
I totally understand. I totally get it. I don't know.
Again, I think it's a waiting for the last minute before bringing to the board, trying to rush.
That's not the point.
Time to
I just
get up
wanna
on
just
this.
bring it out. That's all. Just
So,
put it out in the public.
so if I may,
So either it got that way or it didn't get done this year, correct, Brad? Is that the dilemma that you were faced?
so I've talked to striping contractors about the duration of it. There's always a push every fall to stripe the end up projects because they're high priority and they have extensive penalties if they're not completed in time. But if the board feels that we should push this back a couple weeks, I still feel confident that we can get the majority of these streets striped this fall. Basically, the requirement is 40 degrees and rising for 2 hours. So as long as we have that window for the pavement markings, they could still be applied this fall. And then the redevelopment commission work could hold over till the spring if need be. So that there's a window to hold it over to the next Board of Works meeting if necessary.
Thank you.
What is the reasoning to postpone it?
No, wait, Don, go
Not
ahead.
necessarily. We would simply issue an addendum to the contract, pushing the letting date
Bid processed
back.
back 2 weeks. Yeah, yeah.
So the documents effectively wouldn't change. Simply the bid opening date would be moved to the second Board of Works meeting in September.
Thank you.
City Councilman Don Perbolinski, 215 Gardena. I just have a question as far as one of the streets that's been excluded from this is Michigan Boulevard. That's our other main thoroughfare coming into Michigan City. And I know the striping on Michigan Boulevard is basically useless. Why that wouldn't be considered to be striped in conjunction also with Franklin Street's one of our main thoroughfares coming into town. I would think Michigan Boulevard would want to look as nice as it could to be striped. And even if the plan is, well, we plan on, or the plan is to maybe blacktop it the next couple of years or whatever. I still, I don't know how much it would cost to stripe it, but I think just for the sake of safety with the motor vehicles and with pedestrians, and for the sake of visual niceness for people coming in and out of town, and for the citizens of Michigan City, that's the main thoroughfare. Well, it's actually a state highway, and it should be striped, just like Franklin Street's going to be striped. Thank you.
Did you want to respond to that, Brad?
Sure, I could look at budgetary numbers to stripe the city portion of Michigan Boulevard and have those at the next meeting, which would be the first meeting in September.
Thank you. Before I entertain a motion, I just want to make a statement myself here that I'm not certain that this technical violation by prematurely publishing is something that should prevent us from going ahead with this. That's my personal opinion. Amber, would you please state what you think?
I would agree. I guess I'm just frustrated because it seems like everything is last minute, this Board of Works
That's
meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the bid process.
Support.
I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry?
Aye.
Mr. Vincent?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Next item on the agenda is the opening of bids. Marty Corley, Assistant Chief of Michigan City Police Department. We're receiving bids today for 10 2023 police vehicles, 7 Dodge Chargers and 3 Dodge Durangos. Anyone here wishing to submit a bid? If not, then do I have a motion to close the bids?
Motion to close the bid.
Second.
We'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry?
Aye.
Mr. Vincent?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Amber?
We've received one bid. That's from LaPorte Chrysler. So it's broken down 4 different ways here. So the price for one new 2023 Dodge Charger for 2 years is $10,800. If we got 7 of the 2023 Dodge Chargers for 2 years, it's $75,600. The price for one new 2023 Dodge Durango for a 2-year lease is $13,464. To lease 3 of them for 2 years, it would be $40,392. They indicated that they are in stock also and could be delivered immediately.
Chief, did you want to make any statement?
That would be within our budget. We had $120,000 approved for that, so that was in our budget to lease those vehicles.
Okay, thank you. Is there any public comment?
Oh, yes, Tommy Kolovic, 1316 Ohio Street. I think we need to approve the purchase of these vehicles. I just hope they never ever throw me in the back of one. Thank you.
That's up to you, Tommy. Yeah. Is there any board comment?
Motion to approve.
Second.
I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry?
Aye.
Mr. Vincent?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Next we have.
So the motion was to purchase all the vehicles as originally requested, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry for not clarifying that. Next item on the agenda is the approval of a canine adoption agreement. Before we go on to that, this matter regarding the bid should be returned to us at our next meeting. Okay, I know you know that, but I just want to make it clear for the record, okay?
So Madam President, like I said, I think the theme is last minute, but this is definitely something that requires a last minute to be brought in front of this board. Unfortunately, one of the MCPD's dogs, Axel, has health issues and had to be taken out of service on August 11th due to those health issues. And I presented the board with a letter from the vet explaining what those health issues are and the recommendation that the dog be retired from service right now. The handler, who is Officer Weigel, has agreed to care for the dog for the rest of its life. And what we have here is a canine adoption agreement where the dog would go with its handler and we would transfer ownership over.
Thank you. Is there any public comment? Any board comment?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Support.
I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry?
Aye.
Mr. Vincent?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is a payroll docket, the city payroll for August 11th, 2023. $733,343.54. Claims docket for August 21st, 2023. Municipal claims of $1,586,866.29. Health and Life Insurance Fund of $702,169. CDBG Community Development Block Grant, $22,355.08. Workers' Comp Trust, zero. Total claims, $2,311,390.37. Moving on to unfinished business, we have.
A motion.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Make a motion to approve claims docket as read.
Support.
Call for the vote. Mayor Perry.
Aye.
Mr. Vincent.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Next item is the unfinished business list. There's two items on there. First was Kenneth Flick, 3216 Franklin Street, had an issue regarding the asking for a driveway to be ground down. Brad, you were going to talk to Mr. Fleck about this. Have you something to tell us today?
Yes, I did. Yeah, we can share these.
Thank you.
So the picture in question is the address 3216 Franklin Street. My understanding is Mr. Fleck was traveling southbound on the northbound sidewalk on Franklin Street. And in your picture, he crossed that driveway apron at 3216 Franklin Street. And then as he continued southbound, he struck the elevated curb that's right in front of the mailbox in the picture there. And he fell off his bicycle. So he's asking that that curb be ground down to prevent that from happening to future bicyclists. So.
And you looked at it?
Yes. So as you can see here, this was a fairly current picture. I think it was taken last month. And it is highlighted in yellow. I don't know how long the curb has been that way. To remove it and make it, I guess you'd say bicycle friendly. It's counter to some of the things we're trying to do for Michigan City in terms of keeping bicyclists in a shared roadway condition rather than on the sidewalk, because they present hazard to pedestrians as bicyclists using the sidewalk. So that's kind of the balance there. So I could solicit quotes to have that work done. I can tell you I solicited quotes earlier this month for a similar small scale project, and it was $11,000 to remove and replace 10 foot of concrete. So that would be my caution. Not to compromise safety, but to encourage bicyclists to share the roadway with motorists and to reserve the sidewalk for pedestrians. But I can solicit a quote to do that work. We presently don't have a open contract that I can direct a contractor to grind that curb down.
Let me ask you a question. Is this absolutely necessary? I see that this is clearly marked. What's your thoughts?
I would agree that it opens up a little bit of Pandora's box in terms of in response to a bicyclist on the sidewalk. So my preference would be to encourage them to share the roadway with vehicles in a safe manner and reserve the sidewalk for pedestrians.
Okay, thank you. Is there any board comment?
Yes, Madam Chair, I have a comment. For whatever reasons I have ridden my bike around many areas in Michigan City. I traveled this path, this sidewalk. If you pay attention to what you're doing, you slow down and you can get over that. I agree we are opening Pandora's box. There's probably, if I could recall the address, probably 7 or 8 more that right now I would say are in the same situation. Based on that, I make a motion to deny this request.
Did you want to make a statement, Mr. McCormick? I'm sorry, I didn't call you first.
Rodney McCormick, 617 Union Street. I ride my bike a lot in the city as well. I guess paint the curve or paint the situation up so where people can see it. But I ride on the sidewalk as well because there are cars, there are kids, or people are just flying up and down the street, running stop signs, not obeying the law. And sometimes it's very scary to ride on some of these streets. I know there's a bike lane there, but I won't ride down the boulevard on the street and hope that a car will give me the same respect. A lot of people are talking on the phone. It's a dangerous situation.
Thank you.
And I just want to just say that if it ever comes a time where we put money over safety, then we failed as a government. Thank you.
We have a motion to deny.
Second.
Then I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry.
Aye.
Mr. Vincent.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you. Next item on the pending items list is Barry McDonald requesting to purchase a vacant property owned by the city of Michigan City on Wildwood Drive.
So this board may remember, I think it was 2 meetings ago, Attorney McDonald came in and asked that the city consider selling this. At the public comment portion, Steve Stanford from the sanitary came into the board meeting saying that their department said no. But after the meeting, they said, well, they would consider it if an easement was granted on the property for the sanitary lines. So right now, we're exploring whether an easement would be possible before putting it up for sale.
Okay.
So we just ask that it be tabled for maybe the second meeting in September.
Okay.
So
Do you have a
moved.
motion?
Support.
Now call for the vote. Mayor Perry.
Aye.
Mr. Vincent.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. This concludes the business portion of this meeting, and we're now moving towards public comment, as I always say, and I guess you probably get tired of hearing it, but any matter requiring board action will not be discussed under the public comment section of the board meetings. All matters that require board action must be placed on the agenda using the forms and procedures available at the clerk's office. Public comment is limited to 3 minutes. All comments are to be addressed to the board president, not to individual board members, and all comments must be germane to and within the mandate and authority of this board. That being said, are there any public comments?
Yes, Tommy Kolovic, 1316 Ohio Street. I want to pay tribute to a Stark County EMT, Mike Wilcox. He, 49-year-old EMT, lost his life in the line of duty back on October 5th. I also want to pay tribute to the victims of the Hawaii wildfires. That's absolutely devastating. Also, happy to announce that we have 49 applicants to become members of the Michigan City Fire Department. Our testing is going to take place on Saturday. Then that's going to be followed by the ladder climb. They have to climb the ladder 70 feet or a 45-degree angle. I'll be observing the ladder climb. I won't be demonstrating the ladder climb. I think then they pass that, they'll move on to the physical agility training test. It's going to take place at the Fire Training Center on Hitchcock on September 16th. I just want to congratulate wish all of our applicants the best of luck and success. And I think it's going to be really good. I'm going to be there to observe just proctor the testing, because someday I might have to administer the testing. So I want to thank you for all that. Thank you.
Thank you for the public service announcement, Tommy.
Rodney McCormick, capacity chairman of the Mission City Housing Authority. I'm pleased to announce today we have a special meeting where our contract to repair 10 of our units in Lakeland Estates is going to finally take place. That's a done deal. I know it's been a long time coming, and me and the vice chair, Mr. Vincent, we are working on speeding this process up to repair all of our units, and that will happen. Now I'm here as Rodney McCormick, the citizen. I just want to say thank you to the IT, Andrew, the IT department down there by the sanitation department. These guys do a great job. Too bad they're not. I think that they should be more utilized in what they do. These guys are very smart. I don't know what happened to the broadband plan or project they had with all the work that was going on with the sanitation department. All of a sudden it just stopped. I was told that could have brought broadband to the whole city for free, but whatever happened, it stopped. We need to utilize the IT department because we have all these problems. The police already have crimes. They're dealing with crimes, but we can set up deer cams. The IT can go out and set up traps and video cameras in certain places where all this illegal dumping is going, and we can catch them. Again, it's just all about communication, working together with each other and getting things done. Back to the Nifty, or however you pronounce it, South Shore. I don't know what they call it, for the quiet zone, they got the rise divider right in the middle of the street. I'm at Lafayette Street now. You guys went out and you painted them yellow, fluorescent, lighted them up, and then you put 2 sticks on the end. Since this time, the sticks have been ran over. The curb is more damaged than ever. All the paint is almost all black from car marks. I don't know how much more I own. I don't know how these cars are driving away from the scene or whatever, but that's a problem. Somebody's going to get hurt sooner or later with this. We need to deal with it. I already know your stance, Mr. Mayor, so I appreciate what you have going on. And if I can just make a suggestion, we have Mr. Prespolinski here. Mr. Mayor, you have it in your power to go to the South Shore and tell them, hey, all of our residents in this city that has a city ID, provide them free train service for the next year. This has been a hell of an inconvenience for us. The citizens should get something in return. And I think that's a fair exchange. They don't care about our community. At the least they can do is show for inconveniencing you guys. Here you go. And I'm just talking about the city of Michigan City. All we have to do is present our ID, and we should be able to ride the train for free for a year. Thank you.
Councilman.
City Councilman Don Prespolinski, 215 Gardena Street. What I'd like to bring before the board today is the bridge right here that goes over Trail Creek or to the Blue Chip Casino off Michigan Boulevard and Highway 12. I would like to see the Board of Works or the city get in contact with NDOT and get this sidewalk cleaned up that goes over the bridge. There's debris on the sidewalk. There's weeds 2 to 3 feet high growing out of the curb lines on the sidewalks on both sides of it. And there needs to be lawn trimming done on the sides of the bridge. Because I just want to make this comment, and because I saw that last week and I was thinking, well, I'll bring it to the Board of Works. But I spent the weekend down in Indianapolis. I spent the weekend down in Fishers, Indiana, where my son lives. And they have, 465, all these major interstates going through going through Indianapolis, and every one of their greenways looks like a golf course, and they're all trimmed. But we come back to Michigan City, and our greenways coming both out of 421, 994. You know, everything is 4 feet high. Out there by the airport, the highway, the interchange over there, all the weeds are 4 feet high. And especially right here by the Blue Chip, coming over Highway 12, the bridge here, you know, there's garbage laying around it. There's busted this, busted that, bottles. I mean, it's just why we have to stand for it. And the only reason we stand for it is, and my belief is, that's where our standards are at. If we want our standards to look like Fishers, Indiana, then we have to push NDOT to make them do what they're supposed to be doing in this area. Now, I don't know if that means talking to the congressman or whoever pulls the strings for NDOT, but somebody needs to get in contact with that person and tell them what we expect. If we want to be this showcase city that I always keep hearing about on the radio and in the paper and people talking about, then we got to go out there and get the job done. Right now, in that particular avenue, we're not getting the job done. So I would appreciate whoever has that control to get a hold of NDOT, start getting these areas cleaned up and start making it look presentable, just like the Indianapolis area gets, the Carmel area gets, and the Fishers area gets. Michigan City, Indiana should get the same treatment. Thank you.
Thank you. Any board comments?
Just one, Madam Chair. I will follow up on that, Councilman. Thank you for mentioning it.
I have a comment, Madam Chair. Just want to make it quick. I know it's been a long morning, but I keep seeing things in the paper about homelessness, and a lot of people come up to me and they're concerned about homelessness. And I just want everyone to know that we've been struggling with this for many years. And for public knowledge, there are many organizations that's in place that do reach out and they help the homeless people that are hanging around Michigan City. City Council is working on ordinances to address some of the issues, as well as Police Department they're interpreting laws and working with the City Council on these ordinances. Now, homelessness and panhandling are two different things. Panhandlers are the ones we see out at Meyer, and everyone knows the positions they hang out as well as I do, and they're holding signs and asking for money, or I've had them walk up to me on the street and ask me to buy a razor for $5 and things of that nature. Most of these, we learn, are housed people. They are not homeless people. They are people that do have houses. They have places that they go at night. They have cars that they drive to their locations. Some of these have been seen at local casinos during their off-shift hours. Others are married couples. I've seen married couples out there taking turns at street corners. So just for the public to know, giving to the panhandlers, they're not helping the homeless. They're helping that individual to live the life that they've chosen. If you want to help the homeless, please reach out to one of the organizations that do that are expertise in that, and they have the training and the tools to go after this issue. There are the brochures that are around. Maybe we can get some of these put at City Hall, or maybe you can get some of these brochures from local business owners have them. And it shows not only where the homeless can go for help, but it shows the residents that care to help where to give to or volunteer to of their time and their services. Just to let the public know too, I know I've seen it in the paper, that if you are out and about and you're walking and you feel intimidated or harassed, please call immediately Police Department. Don't wait till you get home. Don't wait a couple days later, but call immediately so that the police department can react and question the individual and help out.
Don, this is not public comment, but I'll let you go ahead, but we're in board comment now.
I just had a question.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so with my last discussion about the different properties needing to be cleaned up, especially the bridge here on the Highway 12 by the Blue Chip, I would like that to go on the pending items list so that there will be follow-up. So somebody will call NDOT, get these areas looked at and get them cleaned up.
Certainly it will, but let me explain something to you, Councilman. I know you know this because I read this to you every meeting. When you want something like that, just put it into a request, go get the paperwork and do it. It means that we track it better. It means that we might be able to solve problems before our next meeting. So just keep that in mind from now on, okay? If you do that for me, please. Thank you. Okay. And then we'll have that on the pending items list. And I know
Yes.
the mayor has said he's going to.
Committed to follow up on that.
Yeah, okay. Anything else? Okay,
Next meeting is sufficient.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Support?
call for the vote. Mayor Perry,
Aye.
Mr. Vincent.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you.